This
Ready to hit the decision. Yes. All right. Give me a countdown.
conference will now be recorded.
Welcome, Bridalwood. Today is the start of boot camp training. And finally, they decided to bring me off the bench and put me in so we could do a little bit of boot camp training today on phone sales. Phone sales. Probably the single best thing you can do is train and work on the phone. It's the most efficient instrument of sales that you have. 90% of the sale will be done on the phone. Typically, when you go to that customer's house, you're simply picking up an app. The sale was already done on the phone. You've already kind of answered the questions. The customer feels comfortable with you, invited you to your house. A lot of the phone is very, very important. If you're afraid of the phone, you're afraid of talking on the phone, this is not the business for you. All right. So it's boot camp training. So sometimes your little feathers might get ruffled. That's too bad. If you've been to boot camp and military boot camp, they beat you up. You do push-ups at 4 o'clock in the morning. You're cleaning toilets with a toothbrush. Tough. It's called boot camp. You don't like it, there's the door. That's how this stuff works. So if you can't talk on the phone, be in this business, you should get a phrase down. It's welcome to Taco Bell. May I take your order? All right. So it's not easy, but phone training is almost required if you're going to be good as a Medicare agent. All right, so 92% of customer interactions happen on the phone. Rarely do you come across somebody that you got a Medicare app for and you never had to talk to them on the phone about it. It's almost, there's always some kind of connection through the telephone, and there's certain things you should and should not do while you're on the phone. We're going to kind of go through that today. So the average cold calls, and I get this stuff all the time. I heard it all last week. I called the person's lead and I got a voicemail and they didn't call me back. And, well, I'm still waiting for the call and it's been a couple of weeks. Do you think I ought to call them again? Yeah, I think so. So I think you ought to call them at 9 o'clock in the morning. And if that didn't work, call them at 5 in the afternoon. If that didn't work, call them on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. If that didn't work, I mean, you've got to kind of try different times of the day. And question really is, do you leave a voicemail? Do you not leave a voicemail? Are you hounding the guy? Frankly, the end of the day is it's different markets than where you're at. Southern California, these people typically are answering the phones. Yeah, I mean, if we can get that lead and get to them fairly rapidly, let them know that the reason for the call is you filled out the card. I'm just calling you back on stuff that you requested that I contact with in the first place. If it's been 6 or 8 months, you're going to have to go back and kind of reinvigorate that person and figure out what it is, why did they fill the card out in the first place. But I mean, at some point, the question is, at some point, can you go knock on their door? Cal, what do you think?
Yeah, because they at some point have given you permission to talk.
Cal Reese says, heck yeah, go knock on the door. What happens if you go knock on the door and say, by the way, here's a card that you filled out. Unfortunately, that card you filled out came to my company. My company assigned me your account, and I have to follow through. And I got this boss, he's just a prick, and he's just on top of me every day until I report back of what I did for you. Well, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Can you go and knock on their door? Carolina? Any special reason why you got called Carolina? You're the first Carolina that I know. Pardon me? Carolina. You're the only Carolina I know. So I know a Carol. I don't know if I know a Lina, but I know a Carol. Carolyn. No, okay. Yeah. Well, I heard some people, they're called Dallas and one's called Nampa, and it's like, where'd you get the names from? Well, that's where the kids were conceived in. I was like, dude, that's just too creepy for me. I don't know how I do that. So anyway, let's get back to cold calling and getting on the phone. Sometimes we're going to have to call, and one of the best that we have out here is Goldsmith. He comes back, I'll give him a handful of leads, and these poor leads have been just beat on, but eventually they finally go, oh, finally, I better talk to this guy, he'll never stop. But he gets through, but he's always after these guys. So the end of the day is there's a company out there called Bankers Life, and they go out, and why they can go knock on doors is, and they don't have any leads. They just get a list of people turning 65, and they go, hey, I understand you're turning 65. I was around helping one of your neighbors around the corner. I really don't want to get into door knocking yet, as I really want to focus on the lead itself, and the kind of the door knock's kind of the last resort. But I really want, if you're buying leads, you're putting your money into it, doggone, if I'm paying 10 or 20 bucks for a lead, I want 5 minutes of your time, right? You filled this card out, give me 5 minutes, figure out what's going on. If it's you're already taken care of, then tell me that so I can scrub this thing and move on to the next one. All right, let's move on. So how are you building your business? So if you're not going to use the phone, then what are you going to do? I mean, newsletters good. Who are you going to send it to? Do you send your newsletter to just leads, just random people out of the street? Typically not, doesn't work well. Typically your lead works with a customer and a prospect. So that's kind of the area that you need to be in. Your lead to prospect, somebody that ties you, some reason they saw you, some reason it's not able to do business yet, or you have done business, you've got a relationship with that person. Now we're going to go and we're going to talk to them every single month. What'd I do? Oh, there we go. Phone sales. That's what we're going to talk about today. Phone sales. Phone sales is probably the single most important thing. Your telephone, and I don't have my phone with me. Cal, lift your phone up. It's called a cash register. Your phone is a cash register. The more times you ring your phone, the more money comes out the other side of it. So think of your phone as a cash register. I worked at a business years ago that recorded phone time, total phone time that you spent on the phone. And then they took that phone time they put on for the month, and then they put a production report on the other side of it and put them side by side. And it was almost identical. The people that spent the more time on the phone had the highest numbers, the highest production, and you could almost go line by line. Number one was the top, was the number one seller. Number two was number two. Number three is number three, all the way down the line. And this company every month would fire the bottom 5%. So it didn't matter how long you're with the company. If you're in the bottom 5%, you're getting fired, you're out the door. So it's always a motivational to say, I don't want to be in that bottom 5%. So they're always hiring new people, but they'd always fire the bottom 5% of the people that had the lowest production, the lowest phone time. But street fairs, you know, street fairs, especially now, for those that back in the Midwest, snow is gone, you know, you can actually come out of your house now. And street fairs are a terrific way of being out there. So if you put in Google senior street fairs, senior fairs in your area, it pulls a whole list, all the stuff that's coming up. Frankly, you could have every week, there's something going on somewhere. And if you get yourself, again, in avenues of opportunity, that's the place you want to be, avenues of opportunity. You want to be out there where the seniors are. So if you can be in one particular location and they'll come to you one right after another, why wouldn't you want to be there? You want to be in avenues of opportunity. Is your couch at home an avenue of opportunity? How many times you're sitting on your couch and also, what happened is this last year is everybody got these new Medicare cards. Ever see new cards? Okay, so the folks here, for the last 50 years, have been issuing Medicare cards with Social Security numbers on it. This year, they kind of figured out, they go, oh yeah, maybe we shouldn't do that. So they've been issuing for the last year, all 56 million Americans get a new card that doesn't have their social security number on it anymore. But guess what those cards are made out of? Paper. So anyway, we got one of these machines, the laminators, 2 of them now, that we plug the laminator in. While they're standing in line waiting to spin the wheel, we take their Medicare card, we can laminate it for them, hand it back. Oh, here's my business card, by the way. And so they get in a service. We're helping them out. We're getting friends. They're filling out lead cards. Sounds like a good deal to me. Street fairs, terrific way. Medical groups. So if you can get in a medical group, terrific. If you know a doctor, ever go to the doctor, say, doc, by the way, one of the things that worked out well that I'd heard about was doctors want to do well for their customers, their members, their patients, but they don't want to get into the Medicare business because they're busy, as you know. But the patients think their doctor knows everything, so the patients are asking the doctor a bunch of Medicare questions. And so to make it easy for the doctor, we had agents that would make up a folder that you can put in their file cabinet, and the folder is already ready to just drop in. And in the folder, they already have flyers made up of your flyer of what you can do, maybe a trifold, a business card. And so all the doctor has to do is reach into the folder, pull out your flyer, hand it to his patient, and go, here, if you need some Medicare help, call these people right here. Pretty cool. So they go around to the doctors and just go, here, doc, just put this in your file cabinet, and they have some Medicare help. You just reach in, pull this out, hand it to them, high five, I'll take good care of them, and I'll report back to you of the patients that you send me of how it all got resolved, so that it's off your plate, but at least you'll know that your members are being well taken care of. So anyway, medical groups, great idea. How about click, click?
Can you hold on 1 second?
Okay.
Say that some people are saying
Some people lost a signal.
or they can't hear. Can someone please tell me if you can hear?
Can you hear me now? Maybe if you can't hear me, it's actually a blessing. Maybe that's the case. Unfortunately, Mark Robertson can hear me over there. That's good.
I can hear you.
Back online? Okay. All right, what's next? Medical groups, networking groups. So networking groups, went out to one BNI up in Idaho this last week. There were like 35 people in there. And the thing about it is they only let one person from each genre basically come in. So you got a chiropractor, you got a landscaping guy, you have somebody that does sheetrocking, and somebody else does Medicare, and somebody else does, whatever. So the point is you go around and everybody gets a little bit of 30 seconds to tell them about their business. So the thing about it is after I got out of there, because I was stupid at the point, it was happened at like 7:30 in the morning, wasn't thinking. But, ultimately, every single person in that room, 34 other people, were prospects, but every one of them, all you had to do is ask the question, do you know of anybody in your life that's at 64 years of age or older? Well, every single one of them, all these people that you should be writing their name down and spread that over to Eric so that he can do a Medicare review. Okay? Because what happens is people go to their doctors and get a physical every year. Well, what happens is in Medicare, this stuff changes a little bit from year to year. So these people that bought their Medicare plan 5, 6, 7 years ago have no clue what's happened and the changes that have happened in the last 5, 6 years, unless they had a Medicare agent kind of go through that and just kind of check it over for them and make sure they're on the right plan with the right doctor, with the right benefits, they're getting the right prescriptions at the right price. So everybody should go through a Medicare physical each and every year. So Eric Jones, who's up there running Boise for us, he should have had a list 100 people deep every week that he should have had to call from this BNI group. Point is, networking is really the place to be. If you're just going to sit around and do direct mail all day or hit the phones like Mark Robertson does, lots of luck. You're going to have some other way of getting yourself out there. And a networking group is really one of probably the best ways going forward we're going to look at. Probably going to be requirement, new agent coming to Bridalwood, is you're going to have to be part of a networking group, right? I just see that as a core product you need to have. You need to be in a networking group. You need to be at a CVS store, be out in public. You need to be doing newsletters. You need to be. You get it? All right? It's that cycle of, if you want to be successful in this business, these are some of the things you have to do to make it happen. All right? All right, direct mail. Direct mail works. Direct mail doesn't work that well. Let's do it. Let's do numbers. We do 1,000-piece mail out to people turning 65. I send them a T65 letter that says, hey, by the way, I understand you're going to be coming up on Medicare, and if you need some help, give me a call. I know what I'm doing. So if I send out 1,000 letters at a cost of roughly, with the letter and the envelope and the postage and all that stuff happen, it's about 40 cents a piece. So if I send out 1,000, it's about $400 to get it out the door, and I get 5 calls. I got 5 calls, which is, do the numbers, it's 0.5%. I got 5 calls. I write 1 person turning 65, I just paid for my mailing. The other 4 calls are a bonus. So the problem from my side of the fence is I go half with you on it. So I spend 200, you spend 200, you write 1 person out of 1,000, and you get your $600. I make my $30 override. So I lost money in the deal. You're happy as crap. You go, hey, let's do this again. That was fun. So anyway, so the numbers don't pan out. You know what I mean? So anyway, direct mail. Direct mail works, but it only works in certain situations. As a agent myself, I pounded direct mail. Those numbers made sense to me, but I didn't have anybody helping me. So I'd spent the $400. I'd write 3, 4 out of the 1,000, and I'd go back and I'd hit it again next month. So get after it. Trifolds. Trifolds, we have an example of a trifold. As she runs to get a trifold. Yes, sir.
So when you mail out your direct mail,
Thank you.
if they don't respond, you can contact them. Is that correct?
If they don't respond, say again.
If they don't respond, you cannot contact them. Is that
Yeah, you're not supposed to contact them. And typically, what I do is I get a list. I have a service that gives me a list. So I can pull everybody turning 65 in San Diego or anywhere else in the country at a particular time, a month, whatever. So right now I'm pulling a list of, let's say, November 2019, turning 65, 2,000 people are on this list. I send them all a letter and I wait for the phone to ring. So can I go back and call them later? I really don't know their phone numbers. I can try to look it up. No. So the CMS rule is no, you can't call them.
No, not calling. What I'm used to is when I do my mailers, final expense stuff, I actually get a list of who got the mailer. If I was nearby a place, I would just go and say, do you remember getting this in the mail?
Oh, so the question is,
Yeah, just follow up. So so you're turning 5 leads into 1,000 leads, still kind of a little bit warm, but not warm.
yeah, I got it. So I guess I'm missing the point. So everybody's going to receive this. We're going to go knock on the door and say, oh, by the way, did you get this, or you just throw it out? Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean, like, for instance, like, oh, I sent this out a couple weeks ago.
Right.
I just wanted to see if you received something in the mail. Do you have a few minutes to go over? You're interested in whatever.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. So
No, yes, maybe.
the answer is no,
Okay.
but you can get a maybe. You know what the maybe is? You can go to any place, anytime, any you want, knock on the door if you lead with a med sup. Do you know that? So med sup is not regulated. So you want to go out and lead with a med sup. I'm here to talk about your Medi Gap plan. Yeah, you can do that. You want to talk about Advantage plans, prescription drug plans? So that's your answer. So the trifolds. Trifolds are a little bit of something we put together. We have the generic ones that got the confused couple on it, just kind of generic. You can get these from the company, from Vitalwood, stip your business card on there. And then what you do is you go to Amazon, you get this little plastic thing at Amazon. I got like 100 for $1, 150 bucks, something like that. You know, $1.50 a piece, something like that. You don't have to get 100 of them. You can get 10, 5, get these little things. And then you go ahead and you put your business cards and put your trifolds in, and then kind of any place will let you put them in. So I put in my dentist office. I went to dentist, hey, can I put this on there? And there's your Medicare option. So anybody that comes in, I went and I got to buy tires for my wife's car. She got a nail, so I got to get tires. So the point is, while I'm sitting there for an hour getting new tires put on, why not have one of these little things sitting there? Oil change places. Anywhere where seniors go, senior centers. You get a senior center, let you put it in. How about a 55 plus mobile home park? What does every mobile home park have? A community center. Put this thing in a community center so everybody comes in to get their mail, has to walk by this thing. Every adult living facility, put this thing in. You want to Google something? Google adult living facilities in your local area that accept Medicare. So you get 100 to come in, walk in the door, and put those things in there. So yeah, just got pointed out that, you know, basically the generic ones of the trifolds are free. Frankly, it's got Bridalwood on there. So if you're promoting Bridalwood and building a brand, I supply those for free. Just slap your business card on there and get these things out there. It's the simplest, easiest way of advertising that you can be doing. It's simply getting your butt off the couch, get them out, and let people know that you're available. Would trifolds be something that would work out well to street fair? Absolutely. Hand these things out left and right. Get them out of your garage and get them into people's hands so they have the ability of working out. And they will hold on to this thing. It won't go in the trash. So if they know that you're available, they will use you. So do that. So let's move on. Referrals. Referrals is the lifeblood of the business. And you think a referral is only something I get from my customer. Well, is it? There's lots of kind of referrals you can get. What if I worked at Merrill Lynch? So I work at Merrill Lynch. I'm a big stockbroker, big honcho. They wear 3-piece suits every day. They're big honchos. They're so big they don't even talk to me because they're so big. But can a Merrill Lynch broker write a Medicare app? Nope. The last thing that Merrill Lynch broker wants is to see me. Okay? You don't want to see me because I could come in, get that customer on the side. I'm doing annuities, I do final expense, I do life insurance, I do this, I do that. Next thing that broker knows, there goes $400,000 in cash gets wired out because I just sold them onto an annuity. And last thing that Merrill Lynch broker wants is to see that money going flying out the door because he couldn't close the deal, but I did. So point is, he would like to have somebody, a partner that he could call that could come in like a sharpshooter, come in, get introduced, handle that customer's problem, give them a high five, tell them what a wonderful Merrill Lynch agent they have, and you're back out the door. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? That customer got taken care of. That agent looks like a hero. You're just the hired gun that came in to take care of them. They're happy as crap to get this off their customer's plate, and they don't have to worry about introducing that agent into their customers' lives anymore. You're in, you're out, right? The only thing we're going to handle is the Medicare. So is that guy going to send you, that Merrill Lynch agent going to send you referrals? Every single one that comes down the pipe. How about people doing attorneys that do estate planning? So how many people do estate planning that are 20 years old? Not too many. So typically they're doing estate planning because they've got some money. They're getting a little bit up there where they're kind of getting things set up for the kids and the property, and they're kind of thinking ahead. So they're typically a little bit older demographic. Maybe somebody's got some bad disease and no changes are coming down the road. We better get things set up. And so when it comes to the Medicare, is that important to the customers? Absolutely. They want things set up. Maybe things are happening. The point is that that trust attorney needs somebody that he can turn them to. They don't really want to screw with the Medicare and doing the module training and all that happy stuff. They want to have a hired gun. They want to have their Medicare guy, their Medicare person. They want Vicky. I got my gal Vicky. She takes care of everything, right? I just give Vicky a call and it's done. So you need to be that person. You need to be that go-to. That's it. I got my person that does Medicare. That's the person you want to be. Okay, senior centers. Haven't had much at senior centers. I thought senior centers would be an absolute home run. I'd live at the senior centers and we'd do meetings, and you know, I took out I wrote stories in their newsletter, and I had a whole column, and just didn't work for me. I don't know what it was. Maybe I was just too much of a prick or something. You think? What, you thought? She agrees. Why would you agree to something like that? I mean, I wouldn't agree to that. I was hoping for a no, and that wouldn't be the case. No. Anyway, so senior service never worked, but the point was, some people, everybody that's there is obviously a senior. They have activities, they're doing stuff. It just never worked for me. So I would like to think, hey, a stockbroker, you want to be a stockbroker, call the doctors. Well, I was thinking if you're going to be a Medicare agent for the senior centers, it didn't work for me. So I'm not going to say it's not available, but if you have an in, do it. I'm one of the agents that went to senior centers, and every Wednesday was like Meatloaf Day. So, they'd set up a table on Meatloaf Day because that was the biggest line they had coming in. It was Meatloaf Day. It was on Wednesday. So they'd set up a table and hand out ink pens, and people would line up, and I got cleaned out on ink pens every day. Come to learn that lesson. Don't buy ink pens and then just like hand them out, because they'll come up and they'll grab them like handful at a time. And so, yeah, these guys are, point is, senior centers have opportunities. The point is, think about what you can do and opportunities to get yourself out there in avenues of opportunity. That's where you want to keep thinking. Where can I be where they're going to be? Right? So anyway, $100,000 producer. What does it take? Vicki says, what does it take for me to make $100,000 a year? My God, 100 grand. How could you possibly make $100,000 a year? Well, you can. And we have a whole group of agents here that do it, and we've done it over and over and over. We got the $100,000 club, 400 customers. 400, that's your magic number, 400 customers. All right. So every $100,000 producer I've ever met is good on the phone. By far, hands down. I got kids. You know what the kids do? It's like, oh yeah, I emailed this person, and I text him, and then I didn't hear anything, and I didn't hear back. I was like, what did you call him? Well, no. Well, just pick up the phone and call him, right? I mean, the telephone is the absolute best way of getting yourself through. Be efficient on the phone. So smile and dial. $100,000 producer by far, hands down, will pick up the phone and dial and smile all day long because they love to do it. All right. Another thing is on the phone is you pretty much have the first impression. So, little story that happened today. So I get a message from our district manager back in Iowa, Larry Roberts, said, hey, listen to this video. So the video is like 12 minutes, and it's all about artificial intelligence and where things are going in the business and la-di-da-di-da, and how they get leads, they generate leads, Medicare leads, so much better than everybody else because they use all this super duper high-tech NASA, reprogramming satellites and all this happy shit. So anyway, I said, okay, let's check it out. So I put a call in, and I had to schedule a 10-minute block of time for this guy to call. And so anyway, he comes through and he sets up the time, and then it has a picture of him in the side, like a little Google picture. You know that? So you can kind of see what the person looks like. Here it's some doofus is standing at the beach. He's got his sunglasses on, he's got his hat on, and he's like, that's your business? This is my first impression of you? This is it? It's like, what a doofus. So he's trying to get me to write a check for $5,000 of just to try his leads out. And this is the first impression I get of him. No, you look like an idiot. And so when I get him on the phone, I treat him like an idiot because, he comes off as an idiot. And it's like, dude, really? Why couldn't you have put a decent professional picture on there? So my first 10-second impression I got of you was something to go, oh, okay, he looks like, clean cut, decent guy, professional, knows what he's doing. Instead, he come off in that first impression, and first impressions is huge. And unfortunately, it isn't, oh, you're just being negative. No, we're programmed that way. We're programmed, we see somebody in the first 10 seconds, we have formed an opinion. And it takes a lot to overcome that. So what happens is, I see a kid that comes in my office and he goes, I'm not making many sales, but he's got both sides of his head shaved. He's got this mohawk thing going with a big ponytail. And it's like, okay, that's a lot to overcome. right? You probably come off, you're really sharp, intelligent, smart, all this happy stuff. But that first impression, you kind of look like, you know, you're a wild hair. And as a senior, you kind of scare me. And so that's a lot to overcome. So be able to do that, that first impression, it's hard. It's hard to overcome that. So point is, if you're going to be on the phone, sometimes how you sound in the phone, they're forming an opinion. How they see you in person, they're forming an opinion, right? So I can't make enough of it. You can't redo a first impression. Now you can get a first look at somebody and go, but then you talk to them a little bit and they go, oh, he seems, you know, pretty sharp. So anyway, but hard to overcome. Okay, so basically first impressions in the first 10 seconds. So when you're on the phone, you basically have about 10 seconds, especially you're calling somebody for the first time. What are you going to do in the first 10 seconds to get that person's attention? And I hear this all the time, and it drives me up a freaking wall. Hi, Mr. Jones, how are you today? And then it just dropped. And guess what? You're dead silence. And on the other end, you know, it's like, what are they thinking? 10 seconds. Sleazy salesman, right? Got a sleazy salesman. I got a sleazy salesman. Do you really care what that person's doing? How their day's going? Do you really care? They don't really care. Listen, you're a salesman. All I want to do is get you off the phone, right? How can I dump this person, right? How do I get rid of them? If your doctor called, would you listen, right? So the point is, you have to, in the first 10 seconds, kind of get your point across and establish the reason for the call. Hi, George, my name is Jeff. I know you're probably busy. The reason for the phone call is you filled out a card requesting more information about Medicare. I have that card in my hand. I'm holding it right now. And I just wanted to follow up and have a few questions for you. By the way, congratulations, you're turning 65. That must feel pretty good. Quick question is, I see on the card that your point is, I paused, but I also went right into the questions. If you're asking questions, who's in charge of the conversation? You are. And the second that you let them off the hook is they're looking for a reason to hang up on you. I want to get rid of this person. Again, we're mentally geared to get off the phone. We're mentally geared that we can hide behind our voicemails. So how are you going to turn that around? So you're going to have that first 10 seconds that you just, it's in the back of your head, it just rolls off your lips and you just move forward. So we're going to practice that today, all right? So basically you have your opening script, 10 seconds. Phone scripts, you kind of want to be a few things out there. So if you're sitting in a chair, but you're sitting at your desk and you got your phone, and typically you do it, oh, I feel down. Hi, Mr. Jones. Hi, yep, this is Vicky. How are you today? Yep, and you sound just like it. Not Vicky doesn't sound like that. That's not my point. My point is you sound like you're not enthusiastic, like you're not happy to talk to them. You sound like your first impression, right? You don't sound like you're up. So if I was going to sit and meet with Cal here, would I stand up? Would I stand up and shake your hand? Or would I sit down and let you stand up and here, Cal, here, shake my hand. So the point is, if you're making calls, why don't you stand up? Stand up and make the call. Talk to that person. Just like we were stating, we're talking face to face, because that's how I want to talk when I'm talking on the phone together. You and I are meeting, we're eyeball to eyeball. It just happens we have a phone line in between us. So be patient. We can go and blast through that first 10 seconds, or we can kind of pace our way through. I know I've got 10 seconds. I'm going to take my 10 seconds. All right. Have a little passion. I could sit here and be monotone for the next hour, or we could have a little bit of passion of what we're doing. I like my job. I like helping people. I like being in a position that I can help them through this. And I know they need my services because I know when they're turning 65. I know this is upcoming. I know what they have to go through. And typically if they trust me and they like me, they'll use me. And guess what happens? I get paid. I meet a new friend. World goes around. We all win. What a great life. Confidence. Confidence comes with time and experience. And you don't get time and experience unless you just jump in. I've said it a million times and they're sick and tired of me hearing about it. There's only so much you can read about swimming out of a book. At some point, you get your Speedo on and you jump in the water. And that's how it works. You get your little face in the water and you start blowing bubbles and then you do a little crawl and you do this. Well, same thing, Medicare. I get the people who go, I don't know enough. I don't feel comfortable. I can't do this. You're never going to feel comfortable. I've been doing it for 10 years. All of a sudden I sit down and I go, whoa, that was something new. I never knew that before. There's always something new. There's always something you don't know. There's always something coming up. So right now, even what you know today, you know more than 95% of the other people out there. So go out there and do it. Sense of humor. Don't be a jerk about it. So if guys like blows you off, I'm not interested. So how are you not interested? You don't even turn 65 for 8 months. You know, you got plenty of time not to be interested, but right now I know that you're not set up. I'm already taken care of. Well, no, you're not. I guess it. You're not taken care of. I know this works. So anyway, you want to just get me off the phone, that's fine. But at the end of the day, I know you're not taken care of. But anyway. Okay. What are the 7 questions? Because you know, once we get through our opening script, again, we got the 10 seconds, right? Our 10-second ends with, as we go through our why we're here, we got the card. I'm looking at it right now. By the way, congratulations on turning 65. That's quite a milestone. How do you feel? Do they end with that? Do they end that question with "I'm not interested"? No. They say congratulations. They say thank you, right? Oh my God, I didn't believe it happened so fast. Point is, it took their mind off of you're a sleazy salesman. Instead, they go, they're answering questions because you just gave them a compliment. You gave them a compliment. Congratulations on turning 65. That's a big milestone. There's really 2 milestones in a person's life. Think about it. What happens when you turn 16? You got your driver's license. Did somebody have to come and close you and sell you and get your driver's license? Hell no. I couldn't wait to get down there to the DMV and get my driver's license. I'm so pumped up about it. 16, I was finally going to be able to do this. Well, that's how these people feel about turning 65. They've been pumped, dude. They've been waiting for a couple of years. They turn 65, get off that crappy Obamacare, quit paying $800 a month for a crappy insurance with a $6,000 deductible. I mean, what a nightmare. Now they can get into Medicare. They've been looking forward to it. Do you have to sell them on it? No, they just don't know how it all works. All you have to do is kind of walk them through it. All right. What's your date of birth? Why is that an important question to ask? I always lead with this one. 2 reasons. First of all, it's easy. They should know. Because typically your card says they're August of 54. Why is it important that I know what date? First of all, it's an easy question. If they answer it, I think we're kind of home free. The point is, once we get through this question answer, because we started the conversation, we had this barrier built up, this wall, right? You're the salesman. I don't want you. Every time I ask a question and I get an answer, we get a little bit closer, all right? Another question, another answer, we get a little bit closer. When we get 6 or 7 questions, now we're friends, all right? We've kind of gotten through that layer of, about you. What happens on the birthday if they were born the 1st of the month? You start the month before. So if their Medicare started in August, but they were born on the 1st of August, their Medicare would actually start July 1st, month ahead of time. So that's kind of what I want to know, what month, what day of the month it is, so that if they happen to be on the 1st, and 1 out of 30, right, as they're born on the 1st, so, that. Yeah, and usually one of the first questions they ask coming back is, so does my Medicare start on the date of my birthday, or when does it start? Well, guess what? Now we're engaging, right? I'm asking a question, they reply, they think, oh, I got a question for you. Now we're having a conversation. Beautiful, right? So if their birthday's on the 25th of the month, when does their Medicare start? The 1st of that current month. Even if they're born on the 30th of the month, their Medicare starts the first of that particular month that they turn. Unless they turn the first of the month, then it would be the month prior to. All right. So that's why question number 1, what is the date of your birth? Vicky has a question. Let's assume that they're turning 65 in November and they're going to turn their Medicare A and B on at that time, right? Beforehand, right? Is that your question? Okay. So if they turn on the Part B the month of their birthday, I mean, they just go down to the Medicare office in the first month that they're born, and they do it 3 months prior to, then they delay a month. What if they wait till a month afterwards? Trivia question. Then they got a 2-month delay, right? So the point is, actually you have, and you learned in your training, they have a 7th-month window in their initial election period, correct? Well, they really don't. You really got 3 months prior to. I keep bumping this damn thing. So you really got 3 months prior to. They got the month of their birthday, 3 months prior to, the month of, and 3 months after. If you do it the month of and 3 months after, there's a delay in their Part B getting started. So that's kind of no bueno, especially they already dropped their group insurance and then they don't have anything for a few months. So you got to get in there and get it done. So you want 3 months prior to. You don't count the month we're in. So we're in the month of May. So we're signing up June, July, and August babies right now. All right, that's our window. Mark Robertson, you still over there?
Yes, sir.
So is that how it works? Are you paying attention?
Nope.
You know, you were teaching this class last week, and now you got booted out to the boot camp in the corner. What happened with that?
I was answering an email.
Okay, let's move on. Are you currently working? This happens, all kinds of opportunities come off of this. Are you currently working? Or are you covered under your group insurance? Another way to ask it. Are you working covered under your group insurance? What's the follow-up question to that? The answer, no, not working. So you'll be,
Do you plan on working after 65?
no, will you be turning on your Medicare insurance as you turn, when you turn 65 if you're not working now? Is that currently what we're going to do? Is that the plan? What if they are working? Because 4 out of 10 or 40% work past the age of 65. Are you covered under your group insurance with your employer? Yes, I am. Do you plan on working for a period of time? You know, a year, 2 years? Do you have people covered under your group insurance underneath you, a wife, a child, or this or that? Kind of find out a picture, what's going on with these people so that you know. So if they're yes, they're covered under a group insurance plan, do you happen to know how much you're paying for your group insurance? Why is that important? I've had school teachers paying $400 or $500 a month for an HMO. It's like, why? Dump that thing, right? Get rid of that crap, and then you can get onto Medicare, get an HMO for a 0 premium plan. Sometimes their plan that they have is junk. It's crap. They're Kaiser. They got a Kaiser plan for $400 a month. Like, yeah, get rid of that thing. Because you turn 65, you're now Medicare eligible. You have a special election. You can get off your group insurance and get onto Medicare. Now, if they're working at IBM and they got super insurance, it's all paid for and everything taken care of, well, then ride that horse as long as you can. But at least you got kind of dig down, right, and kind of figure out what's going on with that person, right? So what does every group insurance have? A deductible, right? So you follow up how much you're paying for your group insurance, and the follow-up question is, do you know the deductible? How much is the deductible for the Medicare Part B? $185. And most, if you go with an Advantage plan, there's no deductible. Everything's taken care of. So why would you be on a group insurance plan that has anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 deductible, which means you have to shell out the first $4,000 before the insurance even kicks in? But you have a chance to get onto Medicare and you can dump that group insurance plan. So you just have to ask the question, is it just you, or you covered it for you and your wife, or you kind of got to dig in? Carolina has a question.
Can you be working and the company has a plan for you? But when you turn 65, can you dump, not take theirs and take Medicare?
Yes. Yep.
And continue to work.
So the question is, can you dump your employer plan when you turn 65? And the answer is yes, because you have a qualifying event. You're becoming Medicare eligible. When you're becoming Medicare eligible, you can get off your group insurance plan. And the point about it is they want you. They want you to drop it because it saves them oodles of money, because you're paying for the part of the group insurance plan and the company's paying for part of it. The second you can get off their group insurance plan, they don't have to contribute any longer. That's more money in their pocket. So they want to see you go off the plan and go on to Medicare. All right? What's the difference between a group employer plan and a retirement plan? Are you asking the question? Well, you get a retiree group plan and employer plan. So what happens is sometimes if you're more of a, you work for a company you work for Chrysler for 30 years. And part of it is, part of your package, retirement package is, you can be on the Chrysler employee retirement plan. So the point is, one is you contribute, the company contributes, and you're working. And here's the rule, and write this thing down, is Medicare considers it when you should be signing up is turning 65 or stop working whatever is later. Turning 65 or stop working whatever is later. So if you're working at Chrysler, you're 68 years old and now you've decided to stop working, then you have to activate your Medicare. You can get onto the Chrysler retirement plan. So what happens is you turn your Medicare on, Medicare pays the 80% of the bill, and the Chrysler retirement plan acts like a supplement and picks up the remaining 20%. They become secondary, right? Let Medicare pay 80% of the bills, they pay the other 20%. So the employee retirement plan picks up the remaining 20%. What's nice about that is typically they got dental and vision and hearing. What else they don't have? What do they have? They got drug coverage. They got drug coverage. There's no donut hole. So these people that got bazillion-dollar drug cost don't have a donut hole. They don't have to worry about that. So that's nice. It's a nice feature to have. So if you have that, and it was one of the benefits you got for putting 40 years in as sweat and equity into this company, yeah, you don't want to jerk them off of that. So do your homework and find out what they kind of plan do they have on. So let me ask you a question. If we're kind of going back and forth on whether or not I'm going to drop my group insurance plan, or we're going to have to talk about this, do you think that's a good reason that you and I sit down at the kitchen table and kind of go through this? Absolutely. Yeah, let's drag out all that stuff. I'll come down, we'll put a Medicare plan, we'll go side by side, and we'll go line by line by line by line, we'll look at it. And honestly, I kind of look at, I don't want to take away their group plan unless it's an absolute compelling reason. They worked their whole life for this plan, I don't want to take it away. Unless it's absolutely just a slam dunk, like, oh my God, you're just getting hosed over here. You've got to make this change, all right? But 9 times out of 10, I walk out the door, I say, you got a great plan, you're good set up, here's your benefits, this is why you should never lose this plan. And they're like, thank you, thank you, thank you, I'm so glad, blah, 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 you're part of the family, here, take some fruit and whatever. Point is, leave a few cards behind, tell your friends about me, they'll tell referrals. The point is you did the right thing for the customer. Do the right thing every single time, right? So can you delay your Part B turn on? So the question is, can you delay your Part B? And the answer is yes. Yes, yes, yes. I'm going to show you an example coming up here that people can get hurt. What? A retirement plan. No, retirement plan. No, once you stop working, that's your key. You got to go turn 65 or stop working, whatever comes later. Now you stop working, you have to go down and turn your Part B on, and then you get on the employer retirement plan, and your Medicare then becomes primary, and the employee plan then becomes secondary. All right? Trick questions?
We've got people who asked this question before. I just wanted them to know.
Oh, nice. Sure, you're just trying to catch me.
It's not credible.
So Roberts is over there giving me dirty looks. Strange. John Von Tovey. John Von Tovey's no longer the rock star. The rock star is back in Ankeny, Iowa. You've been booted. You're now second. Now you're the drummer now. You're not the lead singer. All right.
Jeff.
Do you have a particular doctor you like to work with? Easy question. I've been going to Dr. Smith for 30 years. What do you think I'm going to change him to go to somebody else? Nope. So they just have the battle for you. So find a plan that Dr. Smith takes, and make sure all their specialists that she's dealing with are all in network. Easy peasy. So who's the doctor? Is there any other people I need to be knowing about? Any other doctors, specialists, dermatologists, cardiologists, psychologists, psychiatrists? Those are the tricky ones.
You call up each and every one and go through that.
No, I start with the primary doctor and kind of go from there. So if I find out they got a specialist over here and one that isn't a network, well, do you really need to have this dermatologist? If I can get your primary and your cardiologist and everybody under one roof, and you got one dermatologist over here, and do we absolutely have to see him, or can I get somebody that's in network so we can align up? All right, so anyway, ask for the particular doctors who you like to work with. Good question, opening question when you're on the phone initially with them. All right, will you be drawing in your Social Security? Why is this important? Because I'm nosy, I want to know how much money they got coming in the door. No, it's not. I really don't care. What happens if their Social Security is already turned on? They automatically get enrolled into Medicare, right? So 50% of the people turn on their Social Security at age 62. 50%. So half the people you're talking to are already on Social Security. Is it important to know about that? Hell yeah. First of all, half the battle's already done. You don't have to worry about getting them enrolled into Medicare A and B because they're already automatically going to get enrolled. But remember question number 3? Are you working past the age 65? You're covered under group insurance? What happens if they turn their Social Security on and they're covered under group insurance? They're automatically getting enrolled in Medicare and they're on their group insurance plan paying for that. Now they got both things going on. And they didn't even realize it because you didn't tell them. So what happens is when we're out there 7 months prior to turning 65, that's why we have to discover what's going on. Because you can discover that you're going to have a problem because you got your Social Security turned on and you're covered under group insurance. You've already told me I'm going to be working past the age of 65. So unless you go to the Social Security office and suspend your Part B, you're going to be paying for both. Now you're paying $135.50 a month to have your Medicare turned on, and you're not even using it. Keep banging in that thing all day here. So you're not even using your Medicare, and you're paying for your group insurance plan. You're paying double, and you're also screwing yourself by doing it. Because having your Part B turned on, you're losing your guaranteed issue that you would get with a Medicare supplement plan. Medicare supplement plan, question number 1 is, have you turned 65 in the last 6 months? Yes, guaranteed issue, no health questions asked. Question number 2 is, has your Part B been turned on within the last 6 months? If you turned it on when you turned 65, but you worked to age 67, and you've been paying for this Medicare $135 a month and not using it, because if you have group insurance turned on, group insurance is primary, Medicare takes your money and they don't pay a single dime out. You just wasted it. But also you wasted your opportunity that by having the Part B turned on is because if you can start that at age 67, you have that 6-month guarantee. You can get a med sup, no questions asked. If somebody has a heart condition or something like that, they have to go through underwriting, they wouldn't get it. They couldn't get on a sup. But if they can activate their B and turn on within the first 6 months, you get a guaranteed issue. So finding out if they're drawing into Social Security, very important because you're going to discover and help these people avoid a big problem. Question?
What if they are still working at age 67 but are paying a huge premium and deductible? Can they go on Medicare while still working at age 65? So can they drop their employer insurance?
Yeah, they can drop their employer insurance. So typically employers have an annual open enrollment that you can drop your plan. I haven't seen one yet that you couldn't go back and go, look, I'm done. I'm going to go on to Medicare and I'm out of here. So go ahead and drop my insurance because I already have my Medicare turned on.
They need to make sure they get that form from their agent.
Yeah, but if their Medicare already got turned on, the question is they need to get their form. So let's go through this again because we don't seem to have this down. Medicare. Medicare insurance over here, group insurance over here, right? So if I work past the age of 65, and I'm going to now stop working, I need to go back and let Medicare know I want you to now start, correct? So when I suspend my group insurance plan, there's a form I have to fill out. What's the name of that form? And you guys quit answering the questions. I don't care about you, just know this stuff, all right? There's a form you need to fill out. It is a CMS 564. CMS 564 form. Google it, look at it, put it in your bag. It should be part of your kit, your agent kit. You come out there, it's got a separation form is what it's called. CMS 564. Print it out, have it, look at it, fill one out yourself. Point it is, it's what their HR department fills out. It's your get out of jail free card. So you take this 564 form from your employer, you march it down to the Social Security office, you go, here, turn on my Part B. No problem, no questions. Part B gets turned on. Be 67, 68, 108, doesn't matter. No harm, no penalty, because you were covered. And what it says on your form is you've been covered under your group insurance for the last 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 20 years, whatever it is. So no problem. As long as you're covered under your group insurance, you can go back and turn your Part B on later date without a penalty, right? Yes.
Who fills out the CMS?
564, the HR department of the company that you're leaving. And typically you take that form, they fill it out, you take it back to the Social Security office, they'll probably call the HR department, just verify the information, no problem. What happens if you fill the form out and the HR department fills it out and says, yeah, he quit working here at age 67, he's now 68 or 69. Then you take it back to the HR department, take it back to Social Security. So remember, it's stopped working, whatever comes later, right? Certain things stop working. Well, he stopped working at 67, but he didn't actually leave turn on his Medicare for 2 years later. He's got a 2-year penalty now, right? So we have to educate these people when we're prior to turning 65. Here's some of the ins and outs of this thing. So we have to understand. Vicky has a question.
So when they turn
So Vicky, if I remember right, your story was you were down in Cabo,
I was at the airport. You guys were going.
hanging out at the beach. Were you coming or going to Cabo?
I was going to Cabo. I had gotten laid off.
You were going to Cabo.
And they
So is that how?
called me at the airport.
So is that how it works for you rich people? You get laid off and you go to Cabo? Usually people get laid off, you go on a job search and look for another job.
I needed
You go on vacation instead.
a window.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, so Vicky's going to Cabo. We're coming home from Cabo. She meets up with one of our agents at the airport, and voila, here's Vicky here today. So anyway, you got a question?
I did. So my brother is going to be 65.
Okay.
He's going to work longer.
Uh-huh.
He's going to stay covered with his group plan. He's probably going to work till he's 67.
So you got a brother turning 65. Yep.
When he's 65. He doesn't have to turn on his B, but he does need to get the CMS 564 before he turns on his B. He's got to get it from his HR department saying they're no longer covering.
Got it. So got a brother going to work past the age of 65, has to turn on his A. Does he have to turn on his A? A is automatic. It's called an entitlement. So you ever heard these words, the entitlement, there's expensive. Well, that's what they call an entitlement. You're not really entitled. You've been paying for it the last 40 years. Every time you got a paycheck, every 2 weeks, part of it came out for Medicare. That went to pay for A, right? So if you're covered under group insurance, everybody gets A, as long as they worked how many years, how many quarters, 40 quarters or 10 years in this country, you get A for free when you turn 65. So it's an award, it's an entitlement, right? So you don't actually have to. Now you can, if you want to go in, you go into Social Security, you sign up for A and you suspend your B. I'm not going to turn my B on yet. That way you'll have your A turned on and they'll send you stuff from Medicare. Or if you do nothing, it's no big deal. They don't care about A. It's the B is where the penalty and all that happy stuff comes in, right? B is the one they get all excited about. A they don't care about. So whether you turn it on, don't turn it on, they send you a card. If they sent you a card that just has A in the start date and doesn't have B, it means nothing. Put it in a drawer, just don't lose it. Question?
In your scenario where the person worked till 69, but they stopped their group coverage and
Uh-huh.
Is the B the only penalty they might encounter?
So the question is, if they started quit working at 67, Mark Robertson decided to join us.
Yes, sir.
Wow, I feel honored. So the question is, if they turned on at, they stopped working at 67, but they didn't turn on their Medicare till 69, is the only penalty they have? Well, they actually have two penalties. One would be the Part B penalty. What's the penalty? How much? How much it is? 10% per year. So if it's $135.50, that's 13 and a half bucks that gets tacked on to their monthly 135 every year for the rest of their life. They got to pay that. If it's 2 years, now you talk about 26 bucks a month that gets tacked on to their Medicare, whatever premium they're paying at that time, $26 penalty every month for the next, until they die. So it's expensive penalty. It's not worth it. So anyway, question?
Part D. Part D.
Oh, Part D. So the break-in coverage on Part D is, well, not the penalty. I want to know how many days you can go without drug coverage. 63 days. It's all over your AHIP. Yep, 63 days. Why isn't 64? I don't know. I was hoping you guys would know. I wouldn't know. Anyway, let's move on. All right. Anyway, 10 minutes for what? Really? Well, then I better hurry. All right. Do you use a particular pharmacy? Not that I care, but sometimes they go, I've been going to CVS for 30 years. I'm just getting a response back. All right. So let's see if we can find a plan that has their CVS or they're in network with these guys. I've heard them where they go, I've been down seeing Sylvie every week for the last 30 years at CVS. I'll never go anywhere else. Okay. So I know the doctor. I know the specialist is going to. I got to have the pharmacy. I kind of have a picture of where we need to go with this thing. All right. Are you losing other insurance like dental, vision, and life insurance? So typically, if you're coming off group insurance, you're dealing with somebody that's 65. A lot of times they have these kind of things that are involved. So vision, typically built into the new Medicare plan. So vision's fine. How about their life insurance? They're on a group plan. They've had group insurance, life insurance built through the plan for years. They're losing their group plan. They're losing their life insurance too. And I don't have anything. Final expense. Anybody write final expense? Here you go. You could do that. If they're decent health, they can write a life insurance policy and go through underwriting. They're going to get a much better price, right, than you would in a final expense plan. If they can't, well, do you want to be a burden to your kids when this go to the big stock market in the sky? Well, if you're losing your group insurance, how are you going to find that out? Got to ask the question, right? We're undercovering. But what have we done by question number 6 by now? What have we done? We've kind of peeled that layer back of that onion, right? We've kind of gotten away from this sleazy salesman. We're actually kind of digging down to find out where we need to be. And actually, if you're going to be a good Medicare agent, these are questions you need to know. And if their person is going to be engaging and we're going to be doing this thing the right way, we need to peel all the way down and make sure we have all the pieces of the pie so we know where everything is. So when I put it all back together again, I know I'm doing the right thing for that customer. All right. If you don't ask the question and you don't know, if you don't ask the question, if they turned on their Social Security already, how are you going to know that it's on? They're not going to volunteer that information unless you ask them. They don't know it's important. They have no idea. But that's how you're going to discover. All right. Final question is, do you have any health concerns, questions or concerns that we didn't talk about? So typically it'll come up, especially I'm talking to female, I had breast cancer 3 years ago. Well, do you think that's first in their mind?
Yeah.
Damn right. Yep. Yep. So do you think something like that's out there? You think I'm going to offer the cheesiest plan or I'm going to give them a top of the line plan? Do you think health insurance is important to them? Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yep. So especially if they've done well, they've put money away, health insurance is important to them. Absolutely. If it's foremost, every day they just hope that, good God's taking care of them. So I'm probably going to kind of lean to a sup plan. I'm probably going to lead with a sup and let them know this is a really good plan and go to any doctor, any specialist, any hospital in the country. Something comes up, you can go wherever you got to go, anywhere in the country to get treated for something like this. So if it's a Health Centers of America for cancer, go wherever you want to go, right? And that's kind of lead with that. They come back and they go, no, 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 no. I'm just going to go with the cheap 000. Really? Really? Okay. But at least I'm going to give them my recommendation. And instead of going cheesy cheap, I tend to go the other direction. I'm going to go something a little more quality. I'll lead with the quality and then they can steer me the other direction. Do the right thing for the customer every single time. Okay, what else? How come I don't have a clicker no more? Okay. Okay. So anyway, the thing about it is, I can't impress you upon this enough, is for rookie boot camp peoples is the second you stop sounding like a salesperson and start sounding like a doctor, your sales will triple. This is not a sales position you're applying for. You are a consultant. You are a problem solver. And you solve problems by asking questions. So you understand what the situation is. If you know what's going on, you understand how the pieces work, then you know how to help them do the right thing for them. If nothing else, figure it out, ask the questions, get off the phone, get with your agent manager, and get the questions answered. Because once you learn it, you'll have it for the next time, because these things are going to happen over and over and over and over. Hopefully a couple hundred times a year. You sit at that kitchen table and you go through this over and over. It all leads with the phone call. The phone call is the initial thing that opens this whole door to everything else. All right, so if you're on the phone, confident what you're doing, ask the questions, have them down, practice, practice, practice. You got your brother and he's turning 65, sit down and drill him with questions, practice it. All right, everybody you talk to, kind of get the procedure down. So you're asking questions. If you're asking questions and they're answering, we're engaged, right? I'm leading them through. You go to the doctor's office. Does the doctor come in and say, how are you today? Here's my diploma. Look at me. I did a, no. What can I help you with today? Where does it hurt? All right? How can I solve your problem? And that's what you're doing as a Medicare agent. You're solving problems. Assume the position. This is going to hurt a little bit. All right, let's finish up. Next one. Pace. Pace is a good thing too. So typically, you'll learn this a little bit more about people want to talk to somebody that reminds them of themselves. So pace. If I come in, hi, I'm Jeff Wetzel of Bridalwood Insurance, and I want to talk to you. And this person's from the South. And they kind of talk a little bit slower, from Texas. So what did they hear from me? They didn't hear a single thing. So as you get into that 10 seconds, kind of got to pace a little bit. Heard them how kind of where they answered the phone. Kind of want to hear their voice. I kind of want to be standing up because I can hear them on the phone. I can hear them pacing. I can hear the dog bark in the background. I can hear them go, oh God, you know, damn salesman, right? I can just, you can put yourself, you're standing right next to them, you're talking to them. So remember, you need to have a little bit of a pace so that you can replicate what they're doing, and you're pacing yourself so that you're kind of along with them, because it takes a little while to kind of link up. How many times you're on the phone call and you go, what was your name again? Because they never listened to the first 30 seconds. It took a little while for the thing to kind of engage. They're busy putting groceries away and they're worried about the laundry, and the buzzer just went off in the dryer, and all of a sudden the phone call. It takes a little while to kind of shift gears and go, oh yeah, Medicare insurance. Oh yeah, I filled that card. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm already taken care of. Well, wait a minute. Maybe you're not. I just got the card, so I'm pretty sure you didn't all taken care of. Looks like you're turning 65 in August. Congratulations, by the way. So it's coming up in 8 months. I know we can only kind of take care of you about 3 months out. Let me ask you a quick question before I get you off the phone here. Go right into your questions. All right. Pace, pace, pace. Homework. So this week, I want you, before you come in next week, I want your script written out. I want you to write it out. I want you to practice it. 10 seconds and time it. Yeah, you do that if you ask really nice. And for a $20 bill, postage and handling. Oh, he wants the slides. I said, yeah, for a small price and maybe happy hour. I understand they got the bars open over here. Is that right? Yeah, that's the one over here. Yeah, the Florence. Yeah, they've been waiting for 6 months that thing to open. So now we're good to go. Point is that initial script that you have to have, it's kind of like your base. Did we go through the $1 million page yet?
Yeah.
I got it. So right behind your $1 million page, you got to have that thing down. You're upside down, backwards, forwards, in your sleep, got to have that thing down. You need to have your initial 10-second script down. Have it down so you just rattle it off. And then have your initial questions you're going to ask, because you're going to do your script. And you're going to give them about 2 seconds to kind of pause, and then you're going to go right into your questions, because you're going to be the doctor that's taking control of the conversation, right? I can't stress this enough. If you take control of the conversation, they will follow you. If you give them off the hook and you're the sleazy salesman, they will dump you in half a second, right? So if you come off, and almost everybody's personality is a little bit different. And I kind of probably sound like a prick on the phone, because I sort of am. I'm busy. I'm trying to help you. Don't be a jerk to me. I already know what you filled this card out. I had to buy it. It took my money to buy it, and we're going to talk. All right. So here we go. So typically they'll go, okay, whatever. Point is, it works. So find out what your personality, what works for you, but make that happen. You need to overcome objectives. So you're going to get typical responses come back. You better have a little verbal karate in there. So they come back and they go, oh, I'm already taken care of. You better have an initial, immediate response to that. What's typically something you're going to say? Mark Robertson, right? You call up, sorry, I'm already taken care of.
I've got this card on my desk right here. You filled it out and you're not.
Wait a minute, George, how could you be taken care of? You didn't turn 65 for 8 more months. Yeah, I mean, come on. You try to get me off the phone, I get it, but you filled the card out. I just got this card. You couldn't have filled this out more than a week ago. How could you have had things taken care of already? You can't even sign up for another 5 months. I mean, I know you're not taken care of. So just give me a minute. Listen, do you know that there's people out there that can help you with your Medicare insurance? You don't have to pay anything for them. The insurance company's paying me to take care of you. Give me a couple minutes. Let me ask you a quick question. So I see that you're turning 65 in August. Is it August 1st, the 5th? When is it? Boom, go right back into it. Circle around, right back into your questions again. All right? Overcome the objective, go through it, knock the pillar out, move forward. Once you kind of like, oh, okay, this guy's not going to go away, then go move on. So prepare some common objectives that we're going to get and what your response will likely be. That's something that we're going to do this week. Next week, kind of practice a little bit, because you know what's going to happen really soon is you guys are going to get on the phones and we're going to make some calls, and you're going to do it as a group, and you're not going to like it. We're going to make you do it anyway, because living on the phone is your single best lifeblood thing you can do in Medicare. You got to be good on the phone, right? Practice, practice, practice. And I give you leads, and you go home and you sit on your couch. You're not going to call. But we're all going to take a corner of the office. We're all going to sit. We're going to make phone calls. And we're going to do it over and over and over and over. You're going to get sick of it. You're going to cry. This guy, he yelled at me. Well, sometimes it happens, right? Click, move on, right? If you have 100 people you call, 99 people said, you suck, click. That one person said, oh, you know, I've been putting this off and putting it off, and you know what? Today I prayed that, you know, God help me get me through this thing, and you called. You were the answer to my prayers. That made all that 99 other stuff just go away, because you happen to make that right call at the right place, at the right time. Made it all worthwhile. All right. So anyway, so calling. Are we done? Is this it? This it? That's it. That's it. We is done. Boys and girls, that's it. Thank you very much for coming, and I'll see you next week.